All right, so I have kind of an interesting little situation here on something I tried to repair. So, for a little bit of backstory, a friend of mine had bought a subwoofer used, right, off of Craigslist or OfferUp or something like that, and it was sold to him as fully working, and it evidently was not fully working because when he plugged it in, it's like, basically there's two LEDs up here. There's a power one and a protected one or something like that. And I'm not sure what the logic is behind which ones turn on under which circumstances, but he was telling me that, well, only the protected light comes on and, you know, it's supposed to it's supposed to turn on after a few seconds or something. So he took it to a shop that specializes in, car audio and stuff, and they offered to sort of like just confirm if it was broken or not for him for free. So uh, they plugged it in and they're like, yeah, no, it's toast. And it's not worth fixing. Just, you know, because I think this is like normally like 200 something dollars. And it's very old at this point, right? I think it's like, I believe there's a date code somewhere on here that mentioned 2013. So, oh yeah, 2011. So, December 3rd, apparently, of 2011. Um, Anyway, so I was like, yo, if you want, I can give it a shot trying to fix this. But I gave him a standard disclaimer, and uh, really harped on it because I've never tried to repair anything before, not even simple stuff, right? And I had no idea what sort of the situation with this was going to be. I was kind of hoping it was just some capacitors that had blown up or something, or something like that, but it actually turned out to be substantially worse than that. So, sort of what we had going on here is you can kind of see these MOSFETs here. These four MOSFETs had blown. They all looked like this, okay? And at first, that was sort of the main thing that jumped out at me, and sort of looking at the capacitors. Where did I put that? I don't know where I put the other one, but this one here is the second one, and it's like, uh, I don't know. I don't have enough experience to really say, but it kind of looks like it's bulging a little bit, and it's like, at this point, right? If you got the whole thing taken apart, like, you might as well just swap them out, right? And rule those out as a cause of it potentially not working, right? And I haven't had him test this yet. He's going to test it tomorrow. So I don't actually know yet if I repaired this. I'm kind of anxious to see. I really hope I did. Anyway, those two caps went here, and so I replaced those two. And then these four MOSFETs I replaced, right? Now, I had already gotten, 3 hours probably into trying to, like, get these off because it was really hard to get it heated up and stuff. But um, just because of how much, copper there is, I think, in this board, it was just it was a lot. Now, uh, on the backside here, right? A lot of this I was working on the backside, so it's a little bit silly that I didn't notice this sooner. But this chip here was just like, yeah, blown to smithereens. Okay, it was quite like it had like a whole little bubble on the top here, and this pin where I've got this hooked up was vaporized, just gone, right? Nowhere to be seen. And underneath it, actually, underneath this, the trace runs under here and it goes up here. But the problem is this this chip here on the back side of it, it's got a little pad that connects to ground, and that helps to dissipate heat. But I think it also, I'm honestly not entirely sure, but this is a high frequency, I think it's like 100 kilohertz or something, gate driver, right? Like MOSFET gate driver. So um, it took a little bit to figure that out because the top was blown off, and so only some of the letters were visible. But luckily enough was there that I could figure it out. So what I ended up doing was peeling the trace back on this and just kind of snipping it over here because the solder mask had been exposed, and so I didn't want it to short out there. Um, because this pin here, pin 4 and pin 8 are both connected to ground, which there's a via under here that connects it to ground. So anyway, so what I tried doing, and you can see it's not pretty, but I scratched the solder mask off here, which is the same sort of trace where it connected to. And then I soldered this wire to the pin here. I gotta actually double check and make sure it's not shorting out with anything um, before I actually put some hot glue on this. If everything is connected up how I want it to, I'm gonna put hot glue on this to make sure that, with vibration or anything, it doesn't short out with the nearby pins, because there's quite the solder glob there. More than I wanted, but I was really having a hard time getting that wire on there. But yeah, so I connected that through here. But yeah, this thing was just blown to smithereens. And then this cap, was actually I still have it. It's right here. I couldn't get a measure of what the capacitance of it was. Let me see if I can put this place where you can see it. Yeah, I couldn't measure the capacitance of this. I've always had a really hard time getting a measurement, and I don't know if it's a skill issue or um, there's something wonky with my multimeter. I mean, it works fine for everything else, so I think I'm just doing something wrong. But I just literally put a random capacitor that I had lying around there, and I'm just kind of hoping it's just like a smoothing or a decoupling capacitor or something like that's there to meet a data sheet. Like, I don't know. I'm really hoping that this works out. And then there's a bunch of these 330 ohm resistors that had kind of, they were still measuring 330, but I replaced them anyway just because I was a little skeptical of them. Um, so yeah, you can see all this. These are all my solder joints here. Um, this diode I didn't have a replacement for. It looks a little smoky, but I think it probably still works. I think there's like a diode test actually that I could probably run to sort of rule out some potential, rule out some potential failure points here prior to the test. But yeah, that's kind of what I did here to try to fix this, and hopefully hopefully tomorrow it works, But I don't know. I mean, for a first repair attempt, um, yeah, I mean it was pretty messed up, So I don't know. It's possible that it's really not fixable for somebody of my inexperience, right? I really don't know. I'm really hoping it works, but yeah, I need to put this back together and stuff. I wanted to kind of make a little I don't know, video to document what I did here, and yeah, I'll add something to the I don't know, comments or description if I remember to note whether or not it worked. Um, I'm really hoping it does, but I'm not getting my hopes up, to like I guess I'm really hoping it does, but I don't really think it will. I think that there's too many things that were messed up with it, and kind of all of them have to I think have been repaired for it to really work how it should. But I don't know. We'll see, I guess. So yeah. Anyway, that's that.